So, what to expect when the new administration begins January 20th? I was practicing when Trump was previously in office, so we kind of have a blueprint as to what to expect. But, he has made it very clear that he has plans to sharply limit immigration of all kinds. So, just kind of thinking back to what it was like practicing as an immigration attorney when he was previously president, we saw a lot of more scrutiny on all immigration applications across the board. So expect immigration to be harsher and to review cases a lot more strictly. I'm expecting immigration to issue more requests for further evidence, notices of intent to deny, higher rates of denials of applications, and immigration just kind of limiting their use of positive discretion. Whereas in the past they might have approved a case, now they will look for reasons to not approve a case. And, the types of cases that were focused on negatively can be anything from H-1B petitions to O-1 extraordinary ability petitions to EB-1A, NIW. Pretty much I don't see any cases that are going to be treated more leniently. If anything, immigration will be looking a lot more closely at every conceivable filing, in my opinion. The other thing that I anticipate will happen is that where, in cases where immigration could request an interview, I think there's going to be a higher percentage of cases being sent over to an interview. So, for example, if someone were applying for a green card as the parent of a US citizen, normally speaking, immigration could approve the case just based on the paperwork that is filed. And if USCIS thinks that something is missing or deficient, the way that they currently resolve the case is they could just send a request for evidence. Let's say if the tax return from the sponsor didn't support the finding that the sponsor had sufficient financial resources to support their family member, then immigration could simply issue a request for evidence and say, submit a more recent tax return or other evidence that you qualify and have enough income to support your family member. Well, I think that with the new administration, there's going to be higher chances that this case might be denied. I could see immigration scheduling cases for interview, whereas they could previously have resolved an issue simply by requesting evidence over the mail or uploading onto immigration's website. I think there's going to be a lot more closer review, cases that present any kind of red flag or issue. You can be sure immigration will be zeroing in on these issues, right? And then, it's sad to say, but they're not really going to be as generous or forgiving or using their positive discretion as before. Other things that I think might happen in the new administration, I could see introduction of a travel ban again. That's what happened the previous time. And Trump has said in the past that if he is reelected, that he plans on instituting another ban of traveling for certain countries. Before it was a lot of Muslim countries. I wouldn't be surprised if he tried to, enact that as again. DACA, I think, is also on its last legs. It's been in litigation for the past several years. And although DACA still exists in some form to DACA recipients who initially applied, it already has been put on hold because of the ongoing litigation. But I think once Trump becomes president, he may just pull the plug on DACA, right? Which means that clients who have been getting DACA, who've been extending and renewing DACA every 2 years, now might be a good time to start looking into any options for green card, because we don't know how much longer DACA will be allowed to continue. And I'm seeing an increase in the number of clients who are consulting with me and asking, do I qualify for some other way to get a green card? And I am filing more green card applications for DACA recipients. A lot of them happen to be married to a US citizen or considering getting married to a US citizen, and so far they have put off getting married. But now I think the writing is kind of on the wall, right? We really just don't know how much longer DACA will continue. So I think more and more DACA recipients are looking into finalizing a pathway to permanent residence, if that is at all possible. President Biden did announce something to help DACA recipients move on to a more permanent immigration status, and that was by instructing officers at the consulates to favorably approve D3 waiver applications for certain DACA recipients. And what a D3 waiver is, it's a non-immigrant waiver for applicants for non-immigrant visas. And for the most part, this includes, work visas such as H-1B or O-1, where a visa applicant isn't technically eligible to receive the visa because of an unlawful presence bar. And with a D3 waiver, if a consulate grants a D3 waiver, then that enables the DACA recipient to receive that H-1B visa so that they can re-enter the US on that H-1B visa, and then they can effectively wipe the slate clean and not have an unlawful presence bar anymore. And that actually can free up that H-1B visa holders options for a green card in the future. Let's say someone is here on an H-1B visa and then they are sponsored for a green card by their employer. One of the requirements to be eligible to adjust is that you have to prove that you have maintained status all the way up until the filing of your adjustment application. So I don't really know if Trump is going to allow these D3 waivers to be approved. Something tells me that he might not want to continue that anymore. So, what I'm hearing from a lot of fellow immigration lawyers and even a lot of universities is these travel advisories, that if anyone who's not a green card holder wants to travel outside the US, do so before the administration goes into effect, which is January 20th, right? If you plan on going home and visiting your family or applying for a visa, better do it now before the new administration, because we kind of don't know what will happen, right? Post January 20th. I know that, that's just 5 weeks away, but, just kind of like think carefully. If you were planning to leave the US, we might be looking at a very different reality, right? Once January 20th comes around.